Blog Talk Radio.
Emergency!
You're listening to Big Blend Radio, airing live from Ilwaco, Washington, right on the Lewis and Clark Trail. This is exciting because that was from the brand new album, Then and Now, by the awesome band that you've got to go check out, the North Star Band. And they've reunited, got some old recordings and put some new ones together. And now we've got this double CD album that you can get now. So you want to head over to their website and get it, thenorthstarband.com. And we are super excited because we have the founder, Al Johnson, on the show with us, and a rhythm guitarist. And welcome, Al. Seriously, that is kick-ass music. Seriously. It is. It's really good. It is good.
Thanks, Lisa.
Hey, it's
I
really
should have
we
had.
like it.
We should have had big speakers and played the song so the firemen across the street could hear it. That would
I know,
have
we
been
had
so
to
much
play it.
fun.
Because, we're doing all these live shows here going, even pre-records going, the fire station's going to go off on one of them, right? It's going to happen. And, and apparently they have tsunami fire drills, or not fire drills, but sirens, like, testing on Fridays. So we should do a live show then. We'll play Emergency. But I love this. I love your music, and I'm so glad. I wish I knew about it sooner, but, it's okay to be late to the game. But I love this. And I think, you do cross generations. The album itself, going from then to now, it's awesome. I mean, listen to it. It's like the band and Leonard Skinner and Allman Brothers had a baby. That's what just saying.
All right,
because it's got that old school. No, it's got that vibe of we drive a lot through the east, a lot through Florida and Alabama, Georgia, and that music goes. And I know our audience is probably tired of us, but it's true. Music and road trips go hand in hand, and when you're driving all the time, good music is good music, and it just has that vibe. Like when you're driving through some of those areas, it just. Yeah, I love it. So thank you for putting out new music.
Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah,
that's so kind of you to say. We've been through a lot. We have a history, and it was basically the band that disappeared, and now has reappeared. Because back in the day there was no viral anything other than colds and flu, and so. A lot of the acts back in the 70s and 80s, made a splash, got on the scene, played in roadhouses and honky tonks and clubs and theaters all over the place, and you nobody knows about them now because they left before the platforms were born, and. We had 2 albums out back in the 70s and early 80s, and then was an album that we recorded, and we broke up before it was released. So we've uploaded actually the first 2 albums. First one was called Tonight the North Star Band on Adelphi Records, and the second one was a live album that we recorded at a club called Eskimo Nels, and that one was released in 1981.
Wow.
And even those, I mean, they were on vinyl. It's like nobody had them anywhere except maybe in a used record store with when vinyl's been making a comeback. And we've now, with this new release, we've uploaded our first 2 albums, and we're about ready to play a concert supporting this new release. So it's all great. We're just having a ball.
It's such like, good music. Yeah.
This is so totally unexpected.
But for us,
party time.
Me, I mean, yeah, when you were doing your the beginnings of the band, like we weren't even in this country. We're in Africa and England at that point, and so I didn't know. But coming over, and I didn't even know who the Allman Brothers when we got back to this country. So I had some growing up to do. But it's a British market over there. Africa and England, obviously, British market, and it was just a different thing. And then coming over here and getting into all of that music, I just really wish I'd known earlier, because I would have been playing your music very loudly in a lot of places, and we still get to. But tell us a little bit about the beginning of the band, because there's a band called Bang the Band, right? It comes out of Philadelphia and area, and they were like on the beginning of heavy metal music, and even it was like right after Ozzy Osbourne, but in the States, and they started touring, and it was like Daytona and Florida, and that's where they kind of they smoked a big joint and got to a concert because they were stoned, and the rest was history. But it's the same kind of story as like yours about those kind of platforms kind of changed, and and they're back out. Everyone, you got to check them out. But how did this whole thing start? Because you guys are amazing songwriters.
Thank you. Back in the day, I was going to law school, and my roommate Pete Evans he ultimately became a judge in Florida. We're heading out to Ocean City, Maryland, for a gig, and we had no name for the band. I was in a bluegrass band. I kid you not. The name was Big Bucks and his Flea Bitten Dog Band. And we weren't a bluegrass band at that point. We were fashioning this country rock sound. Yeah. And so we're thinking about names. And I grew up in Brooklyn, so I must have been reincarnated from some unknown hillbilly singer back in the 30s. But he just said, "Hey, Al Johnson and the North Star Band." Nice. And the minute he said it, the minute it came out of his mouth, it was done. And then when we started recording, we set the band ultimately with the members from our first few years. We dropped my name because we had so many singers and songwriters in the band that we decided, hey, we'll go in as a North Star Band at this point. But that's the beginnings. It's like you never know when something's going to click or happen. For a while, I had musicians coming through the band that had become famous, like Danny Gatton, Bruce Boughton, who played for 25 years with Garth Brooks, and several other excellent musicians. But people come and go, and ultimately I put out some ads. Jim Robeson, who was a recording engineer, joined us. Lou Hager answered an ad, and he joined us on the keyboards. Paul Goldstein, same thing. And Jay Jessup, who was in a band in Charlottesville, Virginia. That band broke up, and he wound up joining us, and that was the core of the band at that point. Gantt Kushner is just about the best guitar player ever. He's just so fluid, he's a genius on guitar. And we courted him for a couple of years, and finally he said, "You know what? Yeah, I'm going to join up with you guys." Yeah. And so he became the sixth member, and was very instrumental, no pun quite intended, on our first release, which showcased his guitar playing. So we were doing at that time probably over 300 shows a year, 300 nights a year. I think our peak was between 330 and 340 nights a year. We almost never were not working. Yeah. And traveling up and down the Eastern Seaboard and making some trips out west. And that's what happened back in the day. That's how bands got really good. It's kind of flipped now. Now bands record and they release, and then they'll do a supporting tour for 3 weeks, a month, 5 weeks, maybe less, maybe weekends. But you don't see many bands doing original material that are out there over 300 nights a year. And one reason is there aren't that many venues anymore. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but there were so many bars, honky tonks, and beer joints, and pool halls. You could play every night of the week, every day of the year. There were that many places, and the drinking age was 18, which meant that 16-year-olds were going out to listen to music at the Annandale Bar and Grill, and the crowds were great. They were young, vibrant, and just live music was at its apex, I think, at that point.
I think that's such a huge thing, though, because we need to get back to that. Because, like, when I listen to music, that's what I think is so cool about it. Is I feel like it's like you're at a concert. Like, as soon as I was listening, I just felt like I want to be outside listening to the music. I feel like you should be at a festival listening, and just, I don't know, it feels sunny. I don't know, maybe because we're in the Pacific Northwest and it's cold. I just felt like sunshine and like let's have a good time,
Well, we have a ball. There was never a night, even at the beginning when as I put it, we played to tables and chairs before the first album came out. There was never a night that we didn't get together and play and enjoy ourselves because of the music itself, and because we were developing as a sound, working our original materials, and then when the crowd started to come, it was just that much more fun. It was so organic, and you like. I love the way you say it's sunny, because it really is. It's even when we're playing a broke down country love lament ballad, it's still lively. We still we're feeling it.
But your music is complex, and you're making it like, that's what I think was so great when I first listened, because I get excited with new music, and it's like, everybody stop what you're doing, we got new music in, and I listen, to go through all of the music, and I'm like, you guys are complex, but for you to be able to get us into a song so fast, I think is pretty phenomenal, and to make it feel like you're there. Like when you listen to Emergency, you do feel like you're out at a concert. There's just that warm feeling of fun, and everybody's having a good time. Like you can feel literally like like a summer breeze on your back, when you're listening. And it's but you're complex, and your harmonies are incredible on top of it, and then the music is complex. That's why I was bringing in like the Allman Brothers, the band, and everything, because you are so tight yet complex, but for us to get in immediately, it's like simplified. It's like, how the hell did you guys do that? It is going to be from you guys touring so much, because that's like, I think, performing live, isn't that the best rehearsal, right?
Yeah. It's that Little Feat, Allman Brothers type sound. That it's simple but complex at the same time. And we worked our songs the way we worked up our songs. You're right. We did. We humped out there in the bars and the small theaters, and really got tight before we ever dreamed of getting into a studio and recording and recording our albums. And that's interesting, because they're two different. Back in the day, there really were two different aspects of playing. A lot of bands could not go in the studio and record because they were so used to doing it live that the rhythms would speed up and slow down, and it was all emotion and feel. But for recording, it's forever. So, your gutterballs and your rats are there, so you got to do it right, and it's got to have a groove. And so we were able to transition into the groove that could go into the studio and still get that live feel. But that live, punchy, happy, troubadour type of feel, but yet, make it sound in the studio like we wanted it to sound, and make it make the rhythms be popping out at you, and get the leads to be melding in and out in this intricate way. It was playing so much together that got us so tight. And the interesting thing, and I'll leave it at that, but the interesting thing is, in 2018, we did a reunion show. And this is like after 38 years.
Wow.
We did a reunion show. It was packed house, 500 people. And Gantt, a couple of weeks after the reunion, he sent us all an email. He said, you know what it felt like? It felt like coming home. And I want to do I want to do more. I want to do more. And that's where we got the idea to do the album Now, which we then went into the studio, and Jim Robeson, one of our bass players, the early bass band, he's an accomplished producer and engineer. He's won 2 Grammys, and he's had 9 nominations. I mean, this is all in the interim, And Gantt Kushner, Gantt Mann, he's got his own studio. And we were able to come together and basically put the basic tracks in about a week, and then we went went home and to our Florida, California, wherever, and then COVID hit. And so this probably would have been done about a year and a half earlier, but we slow paced it, and then Dave Besley, our second bass player, he took over in 1980. Dave's a troubadour. He's a true artist at the story song. I know you're going to be playing a couple of his songs. And Dave said, look, we've got this 1982 album, that we never released. It's on 2-inch tape. It was done on a 24-track recording studio. It was analog. Well, how do you get that to digital? We had to do that. And then his idea was, hey, why don't we do it then and now? We didn't call it that. You know, Jay Jessup called it a stillbirth album because it never saw the light of day. Why don't we do that one and then do the one that we're doing now and just show the continuum of 40 years. It's 40 years and we get back together.
Wow.
And we're just having a ball. It's just, you know, and the story is, it's an organic story. It's like, this does not happen much. And so we're on Zoom with each other every week. And, you know, we're talking about how we're going to promote this. We got radio stations in Germany playing the album. It's like, we're just having a ball.
Yeah, but so many people love this. I mean, it's like, it's interesting about, you know, being country rockers, country rock. And I think that's an interesting term for today because now it's kind of like country rock pop. Like in, you know,
like,
you listen
indie Americana, you know, indie folk rock. Yeah.
It's interesting because you guys have so much more, there's substance, let's just put it that way, than that, you know what I mean? There's like this plasticky thing that happened in country, and I'm just saying there's just that, you know what I'm talking about, and I'm not being mean. I mean, people enjoy that and you know, enjoy it.
It's a formula.
And, you know, great.
It's a formula. There's a formula to top of the charts, and then you have people that are in the subculture that is actually thinking about roots and thinking about stuff like what we're doing. We're not the only ones, for sure, but there are. Yeah, right, exactly. Hey, do you have anything queued up? You want to? I'd like to hear some more of that stuff from this great album.
I know this. To me, this is so exciting because I love that the instrumentation too, and I also love. I gotta say, man, Lou Hager's piano too is really cool. So we've done Emergency, and that's from the then. So let's go to the now, and can we play Brown Shoe Willie or Goose Creek?
Oh, sure.
I know we're going to play What Goes Up. We're going to do that for sure because that's your son on there. But I just wanted to go to a different side of the sound, of what you've done.
Sure.
And you have so many different sides of sound.
Well, I would do both. I would do both of them. So just cue one up.
Let's do Brown Shoe
surprise
Willie.
me.
Yeah, let's do Brown Shoe Willie because it's so cool. So here it is. This is on the now side of the album. Again, it is out now from the North Star Band, and the album is Then and Now. So take a listen.
Let me tell you a story about a back bay man by the name of Brown Shoe Willie. Hunted gators in the bayou with the stall-bought shoes, and man said it looked right silly. Thought he wrestled alligators sun up to sunset, and as stiff as the sheriff with his hides on his back. Never got caught with the goods on him yet. Brown Shoe Willie. He'd shine them shoes at the crack of dawn, and he'd be down the road. You could hear them boots a-clicking along as soon as the rooster took the crow. Then he'd jump on his mule and he'd head into the swamp and cussing to himself and chewing on his bread. Man, we all felt sorry for the gators in his way. Brown Shoe Willie. Now Brown Shoe Willie was a Louisiana man who wrestled alligators with his two rides. He takes to the swamp every chance he could. Then he met him a gator who could fight real good, and they both went down in that Louisiana mud. Summertime and the sun was high, much too hot for working. Went out from the swamp, come a yell and a roar, and we all knew for certain That brown shoe Willie was fighting his prey. Nobody seen him ever since that day. We saw his shoes a floating down this way. Brown shoe Willie. That brown shoe Willie was a Louisiana man. He wrestled alligators with his good ride. He takes to the swamp every chance he could. Then he met him a gator who could fight real good. And they both went down in that Louisiana mud.
Listening to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa, and that was Brown Shoe Willie, and that is on the new album called Then and Now. It's a double-sided album by the North Star Band, and that was from the Now version, and who would know it was from the Now? You know, that is just like, talk about going into your roots. That is soaked. I mean, that is soaked. It is, man, I think we need moonshine with that one, too. You know, it's like, I can't wait to get back to Louisiana just to play that really loud everywhere we go. But I mean, that's when I was talking about that instrumentation, and then the harmonies. It's like, you know, it sounds like a simple song is not a simple song, yet it is for the listener to just get into. So I think you know, part of that is that rhythm. You guys have a rhythm. Is there conversations when you're recording and writing about, okay, here's the words, but this is the kind of rhythm that kind of gets people immediately to kind of, I feel like that's part of your success and everything is the rhythm.
Yeah, well, it's always about the rhythm, and it's about the story. So the songs, you know, the songs don't play themselves, but the story's got to be there, you know, to grab people and to make them, you know, to give them a platform to, you know, to imagine, and the rhythm. And we got a great drummer. Paul Goldstein is just he is just laid back and does the right thing. But we collaborate when we work up a song. It is a complete. There's nobody directs. There's no director. There's you know, 7 different directors basically, wow. And we all trust each other to the point where an idea can come up and everybody, you know, people can shoot it down, but nobody gets upset because that's the whole point. You come up with the ideas and usually Paul, you know, he just comes up with that fat back, you know, rhythm that's necessary for the song, and you know, then we tweak it, and like I said earlier, this is organic. Working up these songs is like a labor of love. It's not a job. It's not work. You know, we enjoy every minute of it, even if we're 12, 14 hours in the studio. You know, we're just raring to go. You know.
Yeah.
The Goose Creek is another. You mentioned that earlier.
Oh, I love
Goose Creek.
Creek.
Is a really cool song. Yeah, because Dave is one of the best storytellers you know, I've ever met in his songs and his songwriting. Some of it's hilarious. Some of it's really heartrending. Goose Creek is. I never thought of this till, you know, we began talking. That it's kind of like an ecological journey, you know, because it's a story about, and this really happened. You know, a story about a creek drying up in Virginia called Goose Creek, and then he weaves this story together about the ramifications of what happens when your water source dries up. So yeah, I little insight into now this is not Dave talking, because you know he might have been just drunk and threw down some words and had no memory in the morning, like when I wrote a song called Wild Turkey. But
I was going to say the Wild Turkey
that
story. I gotta go to that because I was reading about you guys. Like, okay, you're kind of the clean band that doesn't trash the hotel rooms. However, Wild Turkey apparently kept going up on stage and that back in the day. So,
oh yeah, there is a story about that. But what I'm saying about Dave is he's a real thoughtful songwriter, and I would recommend you go ahead and back Brown Shoe Willie with Goose Creek. I think that's an appropriate song.
Okay, well, let's do it. Here it is. Goose Creek, everybody. Take a listen and get yourself some wild turkey while you do it, because you can have turkeys and geese all at the same time if you want. You can get the gray goose and the wild turkey and have a party, but I do not recommend drinking them in the same time. I don't know. But here it is.
And I do not recommend.
Every day makes me wonder, how long have I been getting by? In the distance I hear thunder. Where I stand, there's not a cloud in sight. Goose Creek's run dry. Watching green turn to brown. Everybody's talking about leaving this town. I was born here and I guess I'll die here. Let the rain starts pouring down. Goose Creek's run dry. It's so hard to swallow this Virginia dust down. Everybody's getting frantic, trying to get the water from the sky to the ground. Everybody's getting frantic, trying to get the water from the sky to the ground. Yesterday I spent my last dime on a fella who said he knew the dance of the clouds. Well, he danced around and the folks laid their money down, then he bolted right out of town. Goose Creek's run dry. Goose Creek's run dry. Goose Creek's run dry.
Again, that was Goose Creek on the album by the North Star Band. It's called Then and Now, and you can get it. Go to thenorthstarband.com. You can also get it on Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon. But go connect with them online on their website. They're also on Instagram and Facebook. Facebook under Original North Star Band. But Goose Creek, I just have to say this song means so much of what's going on now. It's very timely, and Al, we've done a lot in California. We also lived out in the desert for many years, and high desert of California, then out in Tucson area. And like, if you don't get the monsoon rains and you're in the desert, you literally start to go crazy. But there is a water issue going on in California that's so serious that until you're living in a place where you aren't getting the water. Right now we're in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm just like, can I send the water to all my friends right now because they need it? Because they really do.
Yeah.
But it's a serious thing. It's a serious issue, and it's not just California, but Yeah, I like that you're doing issues, like, you know, bringing up
My
that
sister,
feeling.
my sister lives in Oakland, and they are constantly. It was hard to breathe some days last year from the wildfires.
Mm-hmm.
Just the you couldn't go outside. The air pollution was so bad, and not to mention all the thousands and thousands of acres that were burned. So yeah, it is very relevant, even though it's been going on for centuries, but it really is peaking right now, which does make it relevant. We one of the other songwriters in the band, Jim Robeson, who I talked about, who's a producer engineer. He's like the rocker of the band. He's we all have our own styles, which it's like they tell you in the classic How to Make It in the music business. You have to have one sound. You know what I'm saying? It's like the record companies like it that way. People can identify, oh, that's so-and-so's voice. I recognize that song. I recognize that voice. Well, we're more like, and I don't mean to compare us to the pinnacle of creative genius, but we're more like the Beatles because we all sing, we all write. So there are different styles of songs depending on who the songwriter is. So you'll hear Brown Shoe Willie from me. You'll hear Goose Creek from Dave. You'll hear Emergency or love songs from Lou. Well, the rocker in the band is Jim. So if you got any of his songs, people can see where we're coming from on that. On that
because
matrix.
There's a difference too. There's so many different sounds in here. Like I mean, I always say this on shows. I wish we could just sit down with an album and do this whole just an evening of the album. But there's certain songs like "Climb That Wall" that I wanted to play too. That just has this whole other sound. And yes, I do. I even wanted to close with that too because there's just certain different sounds. Got to forget about you. There's just certain, and even going back into, where does that get you to? I love that song. There's just songs that are just kind of
that's our drummer. Yeah.
What were you thinking?
Well, actually, you just made me think of something, and this is kind of like when you buy the North Star Band music, you're buying 4 albums in one. You're not just buying one album; you're buying 4 albums. Now, we happen to have 2 albums in the set, but what I'm saying is you're not going to get bored with one singer singing the same way, the same style, just with different chords. You're going to get treatments of songs that are unique to themselves for the different songwriters. Climb That Wall is an excellent example. It's actually the A side of our second single, which is coming out on April 18th. Now, your listeners, May 1st is the release of the entire 2 albums. So right now you can go on, you can go on our website and you can hear some of the songs. You can buy the physical CDs if you want. But as of May 1st, all 20 songs will be uploaded and on all your favorite platforms, like our first 2 albums are right now.
Cool.
But this Climb That Wall is the A side of the second single for the now part of the album.
That's awesome. And it's exciting. It's coming out, and that it started with this gig of you guys, the reunion show. How did the reunion show happen? Like, who said, let's go do a gig together? Because, I mean, did you, let's all, reunite, and then did you have a rehearsal, or did you just go, let's do it, let's play it, boys? How did that happen?
That's a good question, Lisa. Really good question. Actually, it came about through fans from back in the day.
Right.
And they got together and they promoted the show. They asked us. Like I said, it's kind of a haul to get us all together, and we had not played a note together in 38 years. So talk about getting together and not knowing what was going to happen. We got in the week of the show, earlier in the week, and we did 3 days of practice, and it all felt great. It just felt great. And then we went up at the show, and it was like there was never a 38-year gap in 2018. So it just organically, it's all gravy. It's like we were once asked recently, we were asked, do you have any fears? And it's like, I thought that's an interesting question. Why should we fear anything when all this is magic and it's all come together, and we're just so happy, happy to be here. All of us are still here, which in music, that's a heavy lift right there.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
And we're all able to play our instruments, but with a little bit of practice, play our instruments as well as we did 40 years ago, or better, actually. I would say in some regards it's better because we have that. We didn't stop playing. Yeah. None of us stopped playing. We just played in different bands and different occasions. So it's just been a great ride, and it continues. We're just looking forward to this next show on May 6th at the Birchmere in Arlington, Virginia. We're already. I'm told that the tickets are selling really well. It's a 500-seat place, and we're looking to sell out. So it's we're just going to get together again and practice though before the gig. I can assure you that.
That's cool though, man, because it's so interesting. Because during COVID, bands, that were touring and everything, then now we can go do a gig. It's different. This whole live streaming on Zoom and whatever, Facebook and Instagram is different. At least there is that though, so that was great. But then going out on stage together, like, who are you? Like, because it's a language on stage. I mean, it's like you're supposed to do that note, and everybody looks at you. There's an unspoken language between musicians on stage that, it's like you've got to get back into that language basically. Yeah. And I think
if you're together, if you're together, then you don't look to the left and to the right. Everybody not only knows what to do, but knows how to make the sum of the individual parts greater than those individual parts. The whole becomes just much more uplifting. And doing 300 plus gigs a year for 7 years, by my calculations, it's over 2,100 gigs. We have that basis, so that because we still have played, so our coordination, our the fact that we know how to play our instruments, so we can get back there and just basically fit right in after that much time. I was amazed at the last gig that it felt like it's just another gig. We were on tour
That's awesome.
And we hadn't played together in that long. Yeah, so it's magic. Music is magic.
That's what I told Nancy. I said,
whether
you guys
you're
are
a listener,
you're seasoned. You guys are a seasoned musician. It's everything.
We've been doing it, and we're still doing it. But anyway, I was saying that Jim Robeson has got that rock style. So I think "Climb That Wall" is a really good choice to let your listeners hear that other side of the North Star Band.
Okay, so you want us to play that one now too? I'm cool with it. We could go with it.
Well,
but I know we got to
also
play.
I would like it because
Okay, I'm down. And Nancy, by the way, had to disappear for I think the dog has wiggy butt, like we call it wiggy butt, when a dog gets all dancy and starts, getting excited. So I think the dog we're hanging out with here, Ember Ray in Ilwaco, got excited hearing the music, so she had to disappear. So she says, sorry about that, but she'll listen later. But she loves the music, and and I was telling her about you guys. I said these guys are seasoned musicians, and each one, I mean, you can hear the individuality, but it's all gelled. So it's so cool.
I love it.
But yeah, let's play "Climb That Wall." I had that as a thing I wanted to do. But yeah, she's emailing me through this whole thing, going, "Please tell him I'm sorry, but the dog likes your music too."
That's okay.
So it's not just
that's okay. We're number one
everybody.
on the dog charts.
Hey, you know what?
Number one on the dog chart.
For all dog lovers and dog, pet parents, if you don't dance with your dogs and even try it with your cats, that's funny. But dogs love music. They do. I know. I know we're animal people, but here it is. I'm glad we can play that because Climb That Wall was on the list. So here it is. Climb That Wall.
Cool.
I gotta find a way out of here. She caused my heart to break with more than one mistake, and she never ever shed a tear. Now I'm feeling the loss with this here double cross. She's found another path that she wants to walk. 'Cause like I've hit the wall, now I'll have to crawl. Hit the point like an electrical shock.
Everyone, that was Climb That Wall, again on the new album Then and Now by the North Star Band. And Al, I have to say, listen to that. Like, that is like, I wanted to play this on the show so bad because it shows like the many sides of your sounds, right? And yes, it's rock, but it has that, old school 80s, movie music. Like, you can see someone driving the 101. I'm on Highway 101 right now, so I'm like, I feel like I'm going from California to Washington, ride the 101 and Highway 1. But then all of a sudden, here comes the guitar. It's like, no, I'm going to slide in, and then I'm going to like amp it up, and then I'm going to go like crazy. Like, that's what's so cool about it, that you don't limit what should be in the song. You know what I mean? It's beautiful.
Yeah, we do what feels good, and fortunately, the songs that we write are good songs. And so it's just a matter of making them come alive. And I do want to make one mention of our unsung hero in the band, who I have not mentioned yet, and that's Jay Jessup. And Jay Jessup is a steel player primarily. He's our pedal steel player, and I want to tell you, it takes a special breed of human to be able to play pedal steel guitar. That is a confounding instrument. It's like you use both legs, both feet, and both arms. But he doesn't only do that. He also plays banjo. He plays mandolin, and he plays electric guitar as well. So on the Then album, the electric guitar is being played by Jay Jessup. So he's like our, the utility guy. We could never make the music that we make without having that diverse sound. And when we would play live, there were times when he'd play pedal steel, banjo, and guitar in the same song. No, not at the same time, but
but still,
he'd start off with the banjo, and then he'd do the steel, and then he'd end up the song with the guitar, and it gave so much, not only diversity, but it gave our sound so much pop. So hats off to Jay.
No kidding.
He's the guy in the band that doesn't write songs.
The pedal steel is amazing. His steel playing is incredible when you hear it through there, and it's like it always kind of sneaks in, and it's like just so authentic. He's just got that real, I don't know, just like this authentic sound of this is where it's supposed to be, and you're like, yeah, it is. It just makes it feel good. It's like sweet tea, man. It's good.
Yeah. 40 years ago, there was this guy. His name was Buddy Charlton, and he was a legendary pedal steel player, and he lived in Virginia, either Virginia or suburban Maryland outside of D.C. And there were at least a dozen pedal steel guitar players that took lessons from Buddy Charlton. And again, Bruce Boughton was one of them. Tommy Hannum, who's another Nashville mainstay pedal steel guitar player, and Jay was another one who took. Bill Baxter was another one. All these guys in the late 70s, early 80s, they all moved to Nashville and became very successful pedal steel players. But anyway, we should play a song from the Then album, and I think you had Lonesome Losers as one of the songs you wanted to play.
You're just going for it. I'm like, I'm cool with this, because you know what? A lot of times they're not allowed. You can only play 2 or 3 songs. So I'm good with it.
Oh hell,
you're
you
good
can play
with
the
it.
whole album if you want.
I know, dude. Let's just have a party, man. Come on, it's good stuff. No, that's
too much talk. I don't.
Yeah, when I started listening, as soon as I got Lonesome Losers, the very first track, I'm like, well, we have to open with this. And then I started listening, and I'm like, oh crap, it's one of these where every song you're listening to, you want to play on the show. And that's the hardest part in our job when you get good music, is like, well, how do you sort this out? I don't know how you guys even figure out how to do singles. That's a whole crazy thing. Even like, doing a set list is one of the hardest things. And then doing an album is even harder, because then the set list is in stone. But like, it's hard to choose when they're, I think when you're doing a show, you can flip it,
Yeah, we get along so well. We've never had an issue with that. Most bands do. Most bands don't stay together very long. We were together for 7 years.
That's a long time.
But most bands, because they argue and this and that, things get in the way. But this project, I don't think there was a crossword that's been said since 2018. We're just rolling with the flow. So it's like I said, I've said this, it's organic and it's just come along beautifully. But Lonesome Losers, just to give you a segue into it, that's a song we actually wrote in Colorado when we were performing.
Oh, nice.
We were staying at this reservoir, and I can't remember the name of the reservoir, but it was beautiful. It's the first time in my life I ever water skied, and damn, that water was cold.
I know,
But anyway, we stayed there and we played around in different parts. Fort Collins, we played Evergreen, played in Denver, played up the Poudre Canyon, and we while we were sitting at the edge of this reservoir, Dave and Lou and I wrote this song, "Lonesome Losers." I can't even remember whose idea it was, but it became kind of a signature song for us in the last couple of years of the band, because of all the road gigs that we were doing, all the time that we spent playing these honky tonks and saloons and pool halls. So, we each Lewis and Dave and I each did a verse, and we all put our own spin on. So it's like a microcosm of the multi-writer singer band idea, and we led off the album then. We led off with Lonesome Losers.
I love it. Here it is, everyone. Lonesome Losers. Take a listen.
Leaving Tennessee, moving down the line, still haven't changed, but we never stopped trying. 3,000 miles since I've seen home. My body's tired, but my heart keeps on. My body's tired, but my heart keeps on. I'm up on the stage, having us a time. People shouting loud, just easing their minds, trying hard to hide those highway miles. 2 weeks ago, 16 more shows, and I'll be home again. You could call us the Lonesome Losers, but look at us now. We've just found out we've always been the last to know and the first to go away to some other distant town, where the lonesome losers win hearts, the losing ground. I just got paid, I ain't got a dime. My girl back home, she started seeing some guy. Well, I tell him off, but he's bigger than I am. 2 weeks to go, 16 more shows, and I'll be home again. You could call us the Lonesome Losers, but look at us now. We've just found out we've always been the last to know and the first to go away to some other distant town, where the lonesome losers winning hearts, the losing ground. But one of these days, I'm gonna write us all a song. It won't be too short, it won't be too long, and every time we play it, it makes me think of you and me. And 2 weeks to go, 16 more shows, and I'll be home again. You could call us the Lonesome Losers, but look at us now. We've just found out we've always been the last to know and the first to go away to some other distant town, where the lonesome losers winning hearts, the losing ground.
Then and Now by the North Star Band. You keep up with them at thenorthstarband.com. They're on Facebook, Instagram. You can pre-order the album on Amazon. You can go to iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, all those places. But keep up with them, and also for their upcoming show in Virginia. So keep up with them. They're going to be there May 6th in Virginia. So, and you can go to birchmere.com. That's BIRCHMERE to keep up with birchmere.com to get tickets for that, for their album release show. But Al, that song just shows another side of your sound, which is so cool. And I want to close with your son's song that he wrote that's also on the Now side of the Then and Now album, What Goes Up. Tell us a little bit about that, and obviously it's running in the family, right? The musical genes.
Well, I like to refer to myself as a bit player in the life story of my kids. And Lewis has got a studio in his backyard in Nashville, Tennessee. He moved there with Jordan Meredith. They were called the St. John's, and they had a record release. They were on the charts, and then they kind of moved on from that. Lewis has become Lonas, Lonas, and he writes songs. He produces records. He actually produced one of Gail's songs from her new EP, and he's also on the road with Mackenzie Porter. So he wrote this song with Jake Etheridge, this song "What Goes Up," and it's interesting. I was visiting Lewis, and I was in the studio, and I said, "Hey, play me some of the stuff that you've been writing," and he played these songs that he wrote with Jake Etheridge, and he played "What Goes Up," and I said, "Whoa, you haven't released that yet?" He said, No, we did that for sync. We did that for a TV commercial or for movies or whatever. And I said, well, I'm stealing that from you. And I brought it to the North Star Band, and I said, hey, guys, what a cool thing to have the generational, shift. We've now got a millennial song from the son of one of the people in the band, and let's do this song. And we did, and it's probably, if I had to say right now at this point, it's the most popular one from the albums, as far as like, hey, you got to put that on a single. So we have that. It should be out any day. It may be out today on all the platforms. The single is "What Goes Up," and the B-side is "Emergency," which you started the show with. So it's perfect.
I love "Emergency." Song. I love that.
So both of those should be up on the platforms today or tomorrow. We were hoping it would be Monday, but so "What Goes Up" it was so much fun. As your audience will be able to tell when you play this song how much fun it was to do it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just going to say thanks for Lisa, and I know Nancy's still out with the dog, but thank you both for having me on.
Thank you. This has been a good conversation, and it's just really good, kick-ass music, and I love it. Nancy and I both, and I can't wait. We're going to be doing big road trips back east again, so we're going to be playing your music. We're getting to Maryland soon, and we'll be in Maryland playing your music there, and because it needs to go home.
Are you going to be in Maryland on May 6th?
No, unfortunately, well, not. I shouldn't say unfortunately, because we're still doing cool stuff, but we will still be in the Pacific Northwest until the end of June.
I was just going to say, come on after the show.
Oh, hell yeah, we would. Are you guys going to plan more shows? Speaking of that, like touring,
we are, but we need to be. We are planning on going back in the studio. I mean, it's all this plan. We haven't set anything in stone. We want to see where this takes us. I mean, we've got a record promoter in Europe, so I mean, we may go. We'll go where the wind blows us, but we definitely have to see how the album does to see if we've got traction, and then we'll do a live tour to back it up. But there's no sense in going around. But we got offered a gig at a very, very high. I won't say the name of it, but a prestigious place that used to be like the top of the metric in the 70s and 80s, and they offered us money that wouldn't even pay Lou's airfare from California, So
wow.
I don't think
It's
we'll
changed.
be doing that gig unless
it's
unless
changed. The
things
whole
change a
world,
little bit.
it has changed a whole bunch, but there's nothing that beats live, you know. But
Oh, yeah.
this thing,
Oh yeah.
like I said, your album has this live, just this vibe to it that is just so. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I want to see you guys
I'm
at
pretty
festivals.
sure we will get out there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we will get out there and play some more gigs. It's just that nothing's in stone yet. This is the infancy of this release. It's not even totally out on the platforms yet. It's just out in physical form on the CDs. And you know, hey, like I said earlier on, we're up for anything. This is all gravy. You know, none of us expected any of this to happen 5 years ago. So
See,
it's
that
cool.
sounds like
it's
Nancy
way
and I.
Cool.
We're up for anything. We'll go for it. Like, why not?
You go.
You're supposed to enjoy life, man. You know, the world
Absolutely.
is crazy, but you got to take your moments. And music is number one. It's music and dogs that dance to music, right? So, hey, we didn't.
Dogs love music. There is no doubt about it.
They do, and
Cats,
so Ember
not so
Ray
much,
apparently
but dogs
liked
do.
yours, so that's good. But we're gonna close with What Goes Up. Yeah, Ember Ray's a good dog,
Awesome,
but What
Lisa.
Goes. Thank you so much. It has been a true pleasure chatting with you, and we'll see you on the road somewhere. I know it will happen, so we'll get to see you guys perform. I know it's going to happen. I just do. Everyone, the NorthStarBand.com is the website, and go on Instagram, Facebook. Go on all the platforms to get the singles. Pre-order the album on Amazon, whatever you can do.
Friend us on Facebook, and we're gonna start up an Instagram thing and do the whole 9 yards. But your listeners, I mean, be a part of this. Let us know, that you're around and you like the North Star Band. It'd be great.
Awesome. And don't forget, keep up with us at BigBlendRadio.com. We air daily at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Sometimes
and Lisa,
live,
let me
sometimes
just end
recorded.
end with saying one thing, Lisa. The next time we do an interview with you, we'll talk all about Wild Turkey, which we didn't get to today.
Oh, no, and if we're going to do that, I'm having Wild Turkey, and so will Nancy, so we'll totally do it 100%.
Well, I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you the story behind Wild Turkey when we next meet.
All right. We'll do it on the happy hour show. How about that? That'll be cool. Sweet.
All right. Now we're talking.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Here it is. What Goes Up. Take care, everybody. Thanks for listening.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I looked around the world to find a little piece of my own mind. I know that it's hard. Firing shots into the dark. One day soon I'll make the mark.